This video was prepared to help update participants in a study being performed to evaluate both quantitatively and qualitatively the wet strength properties of corrugated board right off the corrugator. This device in front of you is a McMillan-Bloedel wet shear tester, which has a lever arm being demonstrated right now. It is powered by either a 1,000 gram weight or a 2,000 gram weight. Sample size for the test is 1 inch by 7.5 inches. There is a small jig with 2 clamps, very basic supplies including a box cutter knife, scissors, magic marker, and a small template for cutting the sample length. This test is designed to be conducted at the dry end of the corrugator so that while board is being produced, qualitative wet strength properties can be measured. The first step in the process is to have all the tools laid out. The second step is to obtain a sample right off the stacker and to cut a small piece out of it so specimens can be prepared. In this case, we're going to use a fairly standard Sumitomo specimen cutter, traditionally used to cut specimens for evaluating dry pin adhesion. For most evaluations, I would suggest that 2 specimens be cut. First specimen for testing, the second specimen just in case. Once the specimens have been cut to the correct width, which is 1 inch, you want to cut your specimens 7.5 inches long so they fit into the McMillan-Bloedel wet shear tester properly. Once the specimens are prepared, generally you want to mark either the single face or the double backer side so it's more easy to identify after the sample has been in water for several minutes. The next step is using a pair of fine scissors to cut through the medium and the liner, the tip of the medium and the liner on one side of the board, and then to count down 10 flutes and cut through the opposite side of the board. So essentially you expose 10 inches of glue line on both the single face and the double backer side of the board, which will be soaked and then tested for its ability to resist being sheared apart underwater. Once your specimens are ready, you use the small plastic template and clamp your specimen in place using the stainless steel clamps. This template system aligns the sample properly so it fits securely into the McMillan-Bloedel wet shear tester. Once the clamps are in place, the sample is immersed underwater and the 2 stainless steel clamps are inserted into slots on the testing mechanism, and the test begins. Start the timer. You can see that this specimen has broken. It's been well over 12 minutes, and you'll see in a minute that it was the single face side that is broken. And that's a fairly traditional result. The single face side is typically the side that will break during both a wet pin as well as a wet shear type evaluation. You can see that our time here is 12 minutes and 34 seconds. That's approximately 754 seconds, well within the scale shown above for WPA or waterproof adhesive. We're going to go ahead and test our second specimen now just to be sure that our wet strength is as good as we think it is so far. The timer needs to be reset to 0. The specimen inserted into the template and the clamps. And then finally immersed underwater. The second test begins. We can see that our second specimen is testing very well, and in fact tested out with a longer time period than the first sample. This one is approximately 822 seconds. And again, you'll see that it was the single face side that broke, but whether it was the single face or the double backer side, having any specimen go over 10 minutes is considered very, very good in this test. You can see that this is a very basic, very simple test, easily performed on the dry end of a corrugator, and one that would provide excellent qualitative information regarding the wet strength properties of any grade of corrugated board run. And just for the record, and when domestic board is tested, it generally fails at approximately 60 seconds or less.